It seems that the Avatar franchise is utilizing the gaming industry and market much more heavily than I thought to manifesting a developing franchise beyond the cinematic lens of what's been promised thus far with Disney and 20th Century Studios in the way of 4 sequels following the first Avatar movie. And I'm still, in the back of my mind, even having seen the teaser trailer for the second film, I guess the first sequel out of the 4, and other gaming ventures within the Avatar world, I'm still wondering what the longevity will be for this franchise and how successful it will be overall. Because Avatar, as I've stated, I watched the film a couple years ago, not in theaters, after it debuted, and I'm still kind of puzzled, because largely I watched it to answer the question of why Avatar, out of all the movies that have released, is the #1 box office title in regard to the financials. It's the most successful film of all time. And still I'm kind of puzzled as to why. I've heard some reasoning from people, largely watching it in theaters, I guess, was an opportunity not to be missed. I watched it on DVD. Maybe that's why when I say the visuals weren't the most convincing to me on the first half, they were better in the second half. But the first film, they didn't really mesh between, creating a world that looked realistic. It kind of appeared a bit glossy to me. Maybe I can watch it on Blu-ray and that would help. Or if it ever releases on IMAX again, maybe, that would give the full experience for someone like me who's not spent that much time in the world of Pandora. And like I said, the cast was great. The visuals in the second half were fine. The story itself was kind of, average to what I've seen in other adventure, action, sci-fi, fantasy thrillers. It appeared a bit common to me. So I've been questioning again, like I said, what the overall turnout is going to be for these sequels and how successful Avatar will be as a franchise going forward. But there's a lot of heavy lifting within the gaming space, and I thought it was limited to Frontiers of Pandora. Even though I was aware of this game a couple years ago, I'd heard some murmurs about it, but I thought it had already released. This may be the same game I referred to. Maybe it's a new venture. I don't know. But if it's the one I'm thinking of, this has been in development for a little while. This is called Avatar Reckoning. So in association to Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, which is a fantasy game, or no, both are fantasy games, but it's a console game. You also have this one, which I believe is mobile. I'm going to pull up a synopsis in a second, but you're seeing more of an expansion within the video gaming world in regards to exploring the story of Avatar and the world of Pandora. This is something that a lot of franchises are doing. I mean, the video game market is being utilized pretty heavily, particularly because there's a lot of gamers out there. But in terms of manifesting the Avatar franchise, it was a bit of a surprise to see that there's this many projects. But I guess because the second film's coming up, you want to get as many works shuffled out there, I guess, to best grow your brand. I'm sure Disney and 20th Century Studios, that's what they're looking for. They're probably going to offer something in the way of, financial add-ons to, again, help fund the product. But if you're not familiar with Avatar Reckoning, and this is pretty new to me, I think even again, if this is a game I'm thinking of that I heard murmurs about, this is what it says according to the IGN synopsis on their YouTube page for the video. Check out the Avatar Reckoning trailer for the upcoming free-to-play RPG shooter based on the blockbuster movie Avatar. Here's a teaser for the new mobile game in which players will embark on an adventure set on Pandora, featuring a brief look at the world and creatures, characters, and some mechs in action. Developed by Arcasar Games, Archosaur, I don't know exactly, it's spelled like dinosaur, and published by Tencent Games. I've heard of them. Avatar Reckoning aims to release in 2023 on mobile platforms. That's funny, aims to release. So we're setting ourselves, a bit of a window if it doesn't work. It's like, well, technically we said it aims to, fans are gonna be like, well, you didn't come out on time. Okay, so 2020, but that's actually coming out after the release date, because I believe Avatar's coming out this year at Christmas. I still don't know if that's really the best time for, best film for a Christmas setting, but we'll see how it fares. Either way, more of an expansion of the Avatar world through gaming. Let's see how Avatar Reckoning stands up based on a first look. I'm sure again it'll be pretty luminescent with the Pandora world. Frontiers of Pandora was like that too. Yeah, the creatures are pretty beautiful. For a work in progress, it actually looks quite good. I mean, this might even be just like a cinematic trailer. The game itself might appear very differently. I mean, I'm sure a gameplay trailer or walkthrough will best showcase that. It doesn't look that bad, though. I think it's interesting to have different genres of games, too, within the world of Pandora. especially games that are coming out in such a close window. Or at least as they're proposed to be, because again, this might come out later. That's beautiful. It's a very cinematic game. I think it's a good accompaniment. Again, it's interesting to me to see this expansion quite quickly. I mean, again, these are in the works, games and every stuff like that. They have, a development process. I'm sure they, gave themselves enough time to be like, okay, we can begin now, so at the very least we can get as close as we can reasonably to the official release date of the film. As a mobile game, and again, work in progress, I'd say it was a bit slow in terms of the frame rate, but again, this might be a cinematic trailer element. They might fix that. Maybe the game itself is a little faster. I'm thinking more like 60 frames per second. I mean, the Frontiers of Pandora game was really strong, at least when it first arrived, in the way of a trailer. And Ubisoft has done a lot in terms of like hyping that up in the way of their marketing. I mean, it did look like a very strong game from a quality standpoint. Here, this also looks good. I like the feeling that there's two different games and they're each distinct. While set in the same world and based on the same franchise, you have Ubisoft's game, which I'm sure is, again, much larger because they have more hardware to work with in regard to a console game than you do necessarily on mobile. I mean, mobile games and console games can be very different in format. It depends, I'm sure, of course, on the game itself and the technology involved and just some of the constraints between both platforms. But I like the fact that we're getting, with Frontiers of Pandora, that's more of like, at least to me, an exploratory game in the world of Pandora. This is, as they've said, a first-person shooter. So it's much more, I believe, action-based, even though I would say, based on what I've seen in Frontiers of Pandora, action is intertwined. It seems like that has a bit of a larger scope, but this is specifically identified as a shooter game, while still being fair to the portrayal of the Avatar world, which is quite beautiful. I mean, again, Pandora is very luminescent. I think with time, the gaming market has made visuals that appear far more convincing than the first film. Again, in my opinion, watching on DVD, maybe that is why they didn't appear the best. It could just be, again, a formatting issue for me in terms of my experience. But I think, for me at least, the gaming world of Pandora feels close to the reverence that I've heard thrown towards the Avatar franchise. Being very cinematic and hearing that people were really taken aback by the visuals of the world of Avatar and just being in Pandora. I know I think it's in Disney, there's a ride that's very popular as well. And people have spoken of that ride in glowing admiration. This, to me, it looks strong. And it's a free-to-play game, so it's pretty accessible. I imagine maybe the gameplay, we're going to have to see what time of this best manifests, but as a teaser trailer, it mimics the cinematic atmosphere of Avatar quite well. I think it fits with the world of Avatar, and I like the differentiation, or you could say specialization in genre focus. I think they've done a good job at least teasing what could be a very promising release. And it would, in like many of our franchises, help establish the world of Avatar beyond the cinematic lens into new and creative ways to explore the world of Pandora. What are your guys' thoughts of this game? I mean, again, I don't necessarily know if this is the game that I heard rumors about, but there is a mobile game that I was aware of a couple years ago. Maybe this is the one they were working on. Just again, you hear certain murmurs if you're in the right circles. What I'm seeing here looks good. Maybe you have a different take, or maybe you're kind of looking at this like me being like, okay, this feels like it fits in the world of Pandora. But maybe you need more convincing. Again, I don't know. There could be a variety of responses. Just like Avatar is quite a variety of responses. There's a general mixed perception of the movie, even if, again, it's the most financially successful. Let me know what your thoughts are on the game down below. As far as I'm concerned, again, maybe we'll see more of time as work comes closer to fruition and manifesting this game in intention to what the developers want, and probably what Disney and Fox want, or 20th Century Studios, formerly Fox. But I think in terms of a promise, this fits into the world of Avatar quite well and does provide a nice extension, and quite a convenient one being free, to explore the world in a different way of Pandora and to enjoy the franchise from a new and contrasting perspective. Maybe one that does fit, again, in the spirit of Avatar, but it's something unique. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.